Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's Diego here in the Panhandle of Florida for a Sunday surprise live stream. It's Sunday, October the 27th, 2024. And I hope you are all having a fantastic weekend so far. It's been a great weekend for Karina and I. Karina's busy right now in the back of the house, so I decided to jump on here and do a live stream for you guys on a Sunday. If you're awake, maybe you're not awake, maybe you are all in bed or relaxing somewhere or on the beach. Well, probably not. We're getting close to the wintertime. But maybe you're busy. But if you're not busy, I'm going to answer your questions on this Sunday regarding K1 visas, green cards, etc. And also spousal visas, CR1, IR1, and also for tourist visas, B2 visas. Now, I'm not an immigration attorney. I don't give you any legal advice. I don't work for USCIS. I don't work for any of those companies that charge you an arm and a leg to process a very simple green card or K1 visa application. It's easy. The K1 visa process is easy. KO jumps on the live stream with a question or with the information. I received an RFE, a request for further evidence, but I haven't gotten the letter in the mail. It's been 6 days. It's usually between 6 to 10 days. You should get it very soon. Remember not to include Saturday and Sunday, so that knocks it down to 4 days, right? So by next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, somewhere in there, you should get your letter for your RFE. But don't panic, okay? An RFE just means that you missed something or they need something or something like that. An RFE is nothing to be concerned about other than the fact you better have the information they're asking for. That's all you got to worry about. And if you have the information they're asking for, you send it back to immigration and then they will approve your visa. That's how it works. Don't worry about it, Carol. You're good. Mr. Nahas, good evening. It's 4:38 p.m. It's 5:38 in Miami. So we are 1 hour behind Miami because we're in Central Time and Miami is in Eastern Time. So if you're in Miami, it's probably close to dinner time where you're at. So I jumped on here just as a surprise, because I'm sure some folks have questions that were carried over from yesterday's live stream. I don't know. Maybe you do. If you do, I'm here for you to answer them for you. We're in fiscal year 2025. This is fiscal year processing. The K1 visa processing should be starting to speed up a little more because it's a new fiscal year. They got more money. They got more funding. And the main thing is the workload at embassies are usually what slows down the process, not USCIS so much, not the National Visa Center in New Hampshire. They don't really slow the process down. They're trying to move it forward and get it going. What normally slows the process down is the embassy because they're busy. Okay, like the embassy in Pakistan right now, Islamabad. They're busy right now. They've got so many visas to process. So they basically put a hiatus on accepting any more visas from the National Visa Center in Islamabad. The same thing happened in Colombia in July of 2023. In July of 2023, the U.S. Embassy in Bogota, Colombia, called the National Visa Center and said, don't send us any more approved K1 visas. We're overloaded with so much work. So in July of 2023, the embassy in Bogota did not accept any K1 visas from the MVC, new ones. In August of 2023, they restarted and accepted K1 visas again. So the process is moving pretty quickly through the USCIS service centers and the National Visa Center. But what's slowing down is the embassies. So it's the luck of the draw, right? Whatever country you're watching this live stream from, most folks watching us from the Philippines, from Pakistan, from India, from England, Australia, from Colombia. Lots of people in Colombia watching the live stream. The folks who are watching us around the world, you got to understand, the embassy in Pakistan is slow right now. They're not processing any K1s. Well, they are, but they're not accepting any new K1s from the National Visa Center because they're just overworked and they probably need to hire more people. It's just the way it is. But you got to hang in there. It doesn't mean you're not going to get your K1 visa. It just means it's going to take a bit longer to get. So we lost a whole month when I had filed for Karina's K1 visa back in April of 2023 or 2022, excuse me. And by the time July of 2023 got here, the embassy shut down basically. Well, they didn't shut down, but they stopped accepting new visa applications. When they get unbusy, when the embassies around the world get unbusy, they will call the National Visa Center and say, okay, go ahead and send me some more approved K1 visas. We can start the process moving again. Mr. Nahas, waiting for the green card to get approved. It's as long as you haven't received an RFE, Mr. Nahas, or any other correspondence, because if you made any mistakes in the green card application, the immigration would have already contacted you by now with some kind of a letter. So you haven't received any notifications from immigration with any RFEs or errors or any corrections. So basically, you're good to go. You just have to wait, okay? Because now you're in turn. You're waiting your turn, just like a bunch of other people are waiting their turn. It's just slow right now, unfortunately. But you're going to get your green card, okay? You'll get it. You will get your green card. Now, Karina, she's out in the back of the house doing stuff. She's pottering around. And one thing that I found to help her learn English, because Karina, my beautiful wife, is from Venezuela. Remember, she came from Venezuela to Colombia. She lived in Colombia for 6 years, and she got her K1 visa approved at the U.S. Embassy in Bogota. She came to the United States in January of 2024. We got married in January of 2024. And now here we are almost in November, okay? And Karina's main priority is to learn English. So I purchased one of those puzzle books. I can't remember, I think it was in Winn-Dixie. I got her a puzzle book that's about this thick. And you have to search for names and numbers and clues, and it's all in English. So she's learning English. She's looking in the puzzle book, and it says everything's in English, and they ask you to find this particular word, this particular word, this particular word, and she circles it. She finds the words and circles it with her pen, and that's the way to get the English words embedded in your head. Another thing that she does is she listens to music that's in English. People are singing in English. She's learning English via listening to music, plus watching TV with the captions in English. She can listen to a movie in Spanish with the captions in English. The way to learn English is to practice and to keep talking and keep speaking. Speak. The way to learn English is to do it. I lived in Colombia, in Bogota, Colombia, for 2.5 years, back and forth. I learned Spanish by being thrown into the deep end and living in Bogota. I remember somebody told me once, I think it was my landlord or somebody told me, they said, here in Colombia, we speak Spanish. We don't speak English. In America, you speak English. In Colombia, we speak Spanish. So, Diego, you need to learn Spanish if you're going to be living in Colombia. So I did. I learned Spanish. I probably got the level of a 7-year-old, 8-year-old, 9-year-old Spanish level, but I can get by and I can understand a lot of stuff. And the same is true when you come to America. A lot of people get stressed out. Well, I can't speak English. I got to find a job, but I can't speak English. Well, Karina doesn't understand English, but she found a job very easily. And she overcomes, she adapts, okay? She adapts and she overcomes. She's finding out that she can learn English a little bit at a time. I figure in 1.5 years, 2 years, she'll be, at the same level as I am in Spanish. So when you come to America on a K1 visa, and then you get your I-94 and you get married, if you don't speak English, don't panic. Don't use that as an excuse not to look for a job. Okay? Go find a job. If you don't speak English, learn. You'll get it. You can do it. I have confidence in you. I know you can do it. And Mr. Nahas is saying he's waiting for his green card to get approved. Mr. Nahas, as long as you didn't get any negativity back from immigration, you didn't get any RFEs, you're just in the queue. You're in the line, waiting your turn. Okay? So try to relax. The reason for the K1 visa, right? What's the reason? A K1 visa versus a spousal visa. Let's talk about that. You can get married. You could fly to, let's say, I could have flown to Colombia, and I could have married Karina in Colombia, and then brought her to the United States on a CR1 spousal visa. Okay. But she would be waiting for me in Colombia for her visa to get approved and her green card. With the K1 visa, we waited and waited and waited, just like all of you folks are waiting also. But I brought her to the United States. We got married in Florida on the beach. She waited for her green card with me here in Florida. She wasn't in Colombia. We weren't separated during the green card application process. We were together. So if you're trying to decide whether you want to go through a spousal visa, CR1 spousal visa, which is somebody who's, you would have been married less than 2 years, or a K1 visa, I recommend the K1 visa. Now, the K1 visa costs a little bit more. It's a little bit more expensive than the spousal visa. Okay, it costs a little bit more. But the winning side of it is you're together when you apply for the green card. You're together. Okay, so you're waiting and waiting and waiting. It could be 6 months. It could be 9 months right now before you get your green card. But at least you are together. You're together, right? Mr. Nahas, I actually forgot to include the birth certificate, and they asked for it 3 months ago. It shows they received it, but no update yet. Okay, well, if they showed, so they sent you an RFE, we need the birth certificate. Now, Mr. Nahas, is the birth certificate in English, or is it in a foreign language? Is your birth certificate in English? If it's in English, you don't have to translate it. If it was in a foreign language that the immigration cannot read, like Spanish or whatever, or in Hindi or in Japanese or Chinese or Russian or Ukrainian or whatever, if immigration cannot read the birth certificate, you got to get it translated into English by a certified translator with an ATA certificate. So you get, if you can, you got to have it translated. So if you sent the birth certificate in to immigration off of an RFE, if it's not in English, hopefully you got it translated into English so they can read it. When, if you're watching us from Colombia or the Dominican Republic, okay, you don't have to get documents translated into English for the K1 visa interview. Okay, so if you're going to go to your scary visa interview at the U.S. Embassy in Bogota, in Colombia, you're Colombian or Venezuelan or from Caracas, which is the Dutch West Indies, whatever, you don't need to translate documents into English. But when you come to the United States and get married, you must translate your birth certificate into English. Okay? The embassy in Bogota say, no, you don't have to translate it. So you save some money on a translation. Okay? But when you get to America, you got to translate all the documents that are in a foreign language. Primarily, it's the birth certificate. Okay? Maha Chaudhary. When Islamabad embarked resuming A1 visa categories, it almost not processing from February 2023. February 23, no processing from February of 2023. That's February 2024. So that's what, a year and a half? What? Not processing any information when they was resumed, please help. That's a long time. That's crazy. Normally an embassy will shut down for a month or two to catch up on a workload. Oh, February of 2024, not 2023. So February of 2024, that's still a long time. That's still a long time. What's that? No, that's not good. What you need to do to keep your K1 visa active is to email the embassy in Islamabad, stay in touch with them so that you maintain communication with the embassy and say, look, ask them once every 2 weeks or once a month, send an email. What's the status? What's the status? What's the status? Put the receipt number of your NOA2 letter in the subject line of the email. That will keep your NOA2 letter from expiring. Because if you look at your NOA2 letter, it's got a 4-month window of time. It's good from this date to this date, right? You got a 4-month window of time on your NOA2 letter. Well, it's not your fault that the embassy is not processing K1s. So you got to keep that NOA2 letter. Yeah, it expires. I know it expires. So what you got to do is you got to keep emailing the embassy in Islamabad and check in with them, and put the receipt number of your NOA2 letter and in the email, plus your date of birth, passport number, full name, and your sponsor's full name, and etc. You got to stay in touch with the embassy once a month at a minimum. That will keep your NOA2 letter from timing out. Okay? You got it, Mr. Nahas? And you got it translated it was in a foreign language and you translated it into English. Perfect. So you're good. So you're just kicking back, waiting now for them to get to it. But they're busy, guys. The green card application process has slowed down quite a bit because of the workload, and because people keep quitting. You know, what happens is this: USCIS will train somebody. They'll train somebody to be a K-1 visa adjudicator or a green card adjudicator. They get trained up. They work for a year or 18 months or 2 years, and then they get a better job somewhere else. Well, they not so much a better job, but they quit and go work somewhere else. So then immigration gets back into the point where they need people again. It's a stressful job. Just think about being an immigration officer adjudicating a K-1 visa or a green card. It's a stressful job. You got people's lives in your hand, right? You got to make a decision on somebody's future. Some people can do it for 20 years and retire or whatever. Some people can only do it for a year and it burns them out. I mean, don't you guys feel burned out waiting for the K-1 visa, waiting for your green card? Don't you feel like a little stressed out, a little burned out, kind of tired, kind of sad? It's a normal feeling to have, but these immigration officers got to deal with it every day for hundreds of people. It's not easy. Maha, okay. You got to just hang in there, okay? Ajali, they also changed the system in the Dominican Republic for the visa interviews. Yeah, they changed the system, but in the Dominican Republic at the embassy there, U.S. Embassy there, you don't need to translate documents from Spanish into English for the visa interview, okay? But you do when you get to America and you apply for your green card. When you apply for the green card, you must translate any documents out, like the birth certificates especially, into English. You don't need letters of intent to get married when you file for a green card. You do need letters of intent to get married when you file for the K-1 visa. Okay, when you file for the K-1 visa, you got to include 2 letters of intent to get married in the K-1 visa application. Here's what you do. Mr. Sponsor in America, you write a letter of intent to get married. In the letter, you must say, these are mandatory statements that you must put in the letter of intent to get married. Number 1, you are free and legally free and able to get married. Okay, you're single, divorced, or widowed. You got to put that in the letter of intent to get married. Number 2, you got to say that you promise you will marry your beneficiary within 90 days of her arriving in the United States. Okay? And number 3, you got to state that you are a U.S. citizen. So when I wrote my letter of intent to get married for Karina, for the embassy, and for the K-1 visa, when I filed the K-1 visa, I put in there, I'm an American citizen, I'm legally free and able to marry Karina, and I will promise to do so within 90 days of her arriving in America. Those are the 3 statements that must be in your letter of intent to get married, Mr. Sponsor, and your beneficiary must write her letter or his letter of intent to get married also. Now, Karina doesn't speak English or read English or write English. So she wrote her letter of intent to get married in Spanish. Okay, mandatory. She wrote it in Spanish. And I didn't have to get it translated into English for the embassy interview in Bogota. Okay, I didn't have to. But if you are in a country like Japan or in China or, Holland, Germany, France, Chile, Panama, South Africa, I don't know South Africa, but if you cannot speak English, if you cannot read English, Mr. Beneficiary, Miss Beneficiary, you got to write your letter of intent to get married in your language of your country that you are fluent in. Now, if you are from, let's say, I don't know, Uganda, or let's say from the Ivory Coast. Let's say you're from the Ivory Coast. but you can speak English fluently, you can read English fluently, then you can write your letter of intent to get married in English, as long as you can understand English. Okay? But if you don't know, if you can't read or write English, you got to write the letter in your language of your country. You got to do that. Let's supposing that I wrote Karina's letter of intent to get married for her. Okay, suppose I didn't do that. She wrote it, but what if I did in English and then had her sign it? Number one, she can't understand what I wrote. I mean, she could probably get a phone translator and take a picture and translate it off of her phone, but she couldn't understand it if I gave it to her and she read it. So, if she went to her K-1 visa interview with her letter of intent to get married in English, the immigration officer is going to want to do the interview in English, but she can't speak English. So he would commence the interview in English. And she would say, "What, kid? No, yo no entiendo." Right? He said, "You don't understand English?" No. She said, "No, yo no aprender. Yo no hablo español, English." And he said, "Okay, but you wrote your letter of intent to get married letter in English. So that means you shouldn't be able to do the interview in English." You see what I'm saying? You got to be careful with immigration, guys. It's a strict process. It's an easy process. It's easy to do. The paperwork's easy. The I-129F is only 13 pages long. Okay. The adjustment of status paperwork, the 485 USCIS Form I-485 is only 20 pages long. You can fill it out yourself. You don't need an immigration attorney to fill out the paperwork. It's easy to do. You just got to take your time and be patient and don't make any errors. The big errors people make is they forget to sign the paperwork. They forget to sign it. They get in such a big hurry, they mail it off, and I forgot to sign it. Okay? Don't do that. Don't make that mistake. Lots of people make the mistake of filling out the check for their K-1 visa or green card, and they abbreviate who the check's going to be paid out to. The check's going to be paid out to the U.S. Department of Homeland Security. You got to write the whole thing. U.S. Department of Homeland Security. Got to fill it out. If you abbreviate it like USDEPT/Homeland/SEC, your entire green card package will be sent back to you because you messed up the check. You got to fill it out in its entirety. Okay? U.S. Department of Homeland Security. And don't use a credit card to pay for your K-1 visa or for your green card application. Don't do it. There's a lot of banks who get the charge from USCIS for $1,440 for the green card, which includes the biometrics fee. The bank gets the charge from USCIS, and the bank's like, "What the heck is this?" And they block the transaction until they have called you, Mr. Sponsor, to verify that you did actually use your credit card to spend this kind of money on paperwork with immigration. Most banks are going to block the transaction until they have verified with you that it is correct. To avoid that block, to avoid slowing down your green card application, write a personal check or get a cashier's check and pay for your green card and your K-1 visa with a cashier's check or a personal check. Immigration gets the check, they scan it, and it gets automatically deposited into the USCIS bank account from your bank via a scanned electronic check. Boom. And your green card and your K-1 visa process will continue more quickly than if you try to use your credit card. Now, you can say, "Well, I want to get the points on my credit card." Forget the points on your freaking credit card. Forget the points. Would you rather speed up this process and get this green card a little bit quicker? It's not going to be quick, but a little quicker if you just write a check. It's going to save you a headache. Okay? So Ajali said they changed the system in the Dominican Republic for the visa interviews. So are you talking about translating documents into English, or are you talking about the questions? Because the questions are basically the same across every embassy around the world. Every embassy around the world basically asks the same kind of questions. Ajali, when we wrote letters of intent to get married for the K-1 visa packet, we had them transcribed over from Spanish to English, but we also had the original Spanish letters. Yeah, there you go. But If that's the rule now in the Dominican Republic, in the past you didn't have to. In the past, in the Dominican Republic, you just wrote the letter in Spanish, signed it and dated it, and gave it to them, and they can read it. And you do not need a letter of intent to get married for the green card application. The American citizen sponsor, you, the American citizen sponsor, you brought your beautiful wife, your bride to be, your beautiful husband over to America. You got married, and when your beneficiary was in, let's say, Colombia or the Dominican Republic, okay, he or she had to get a police check or a police certificate. Okay, you got to get a police certificate from every country that you lived in or worked in for 6 months or longer, even K2s if they're over the age of 16 or older. So if you, let's put, like for Karina, she lived in Venezuela. She grew up in Caracas, Venezuela, and she relocated to Colombia for, she had to get a police certificate from Venezuela, and she had to get a police certificate from Colombia and an Interpol police certificate. So don't forget, you got to get those police certificates, okay? Ajali, no, they changed the system how you schedule the interview. Okay, so how do you do it now? You don't have U.S. travel docs anymore? Usually the way to schedule a K-1 visa interview is you pay the visa fee of $265. You submit the DS-160, which is a free form. You fill out the DS-160, you submit it, you print the confirmation page. There's no charge for the DS-160, but there's a $265 fee for the consular interview. Once you've paid the fee, they take your money. You can pay the visa fee with your credit card, Mr. Sponsor, Ms. Sponsor, if you want to help out your beneficiary. You pay the fee, and then they open up a calendar for you where you can schedule the interview. So you go into ustraveldocs.gov. You page down and look for the Dominican Republic. You click on the Dominican Republic, and there you go. Is that what changed, Ajali? Did they eliminate U.S. travel docs? Is that what happened? Chris and Emma, my fiance will call the embassy for that email received. Yeah, very important, because that's regarding her medical exam. The medical exam, she passed it. She's in the Philippines, right? She lives in Manila, right? She passed her medical exam at St. Luke's Hospital Extension. And then I don't know if she received an email saying this was the process that she had to do, which was to call the embassy in Manila, the U.S. Embassy, and say, my medical exam was approved, okay? And that's what the embassy's waiting for you for that call. But what I would do is back it up with an email too. Because how can you prove a phone call? You can't. I mean, you could screenshot it on your phone, I guess, on your cell phone, but make the call as you were directed to do by the embassy, okay? But send an email too and back it up so that you got a backup of proof that you did in fact communicate with the embassy. Remember, immigration rely on only evidence. What evidence you can produce for the K-1 visa, the evidence you can produce for your green card application, whatever you send them is the proof, is what they're going to use to adjudicate your visa or your green card. If you submit a very weak K-1 visa application, you made one trip to see your beneficiary, let's say, I don't know, you flew to Norway, you spent 5 days there, you didn't take hardly any pictures together, if any. If you've been known each other for 6 months, you made one trip to Norway, you filled out a very weak K-1 visa application, chances of you getting a K-1 visa is pretty low. Because the first thing they're going to send you is an RFE for more information. Well, you need to prove your relationship. You didn't send us enough evidence of your relationship. I just made a video on basically the updated forms for fiscal year 2025 on how to submit a K-1 visa interview. Or paperwork, for the K-1 visa letter approval. So Chris and Emma, my fiance will call the embassy. That's good for that email. Also send an email too to cover yourself, because the email is going to be the hard copy evidence that you actually contacted the embassy. But it's no problem. It's an easy process. So Chris and Emil, you're at the finish line. You're at the end zone. You're fixing to do a touchdown. Boof, you're done. Jolly, all of those steps are still the same. Okay, so I know the process pretty good. It's just another system they are calling the VAC. Okay, well, let me explain to you what happened there. The USCIS, the embassies, the State Department, the U.S. State Department uses a third party to process K-1 visa interviews. Okay, so when you go into ustraveldocs.gov, you look for the country, in your case, the Dominican Republic, you click on there, then it takes you to the embassy page where you schedule the embassy interview and pay the fees and all that jazz. But the VAC means that it's a different third-party company that's now processing the K-1 visas for the embassy in the Dominican Republic. That's all that means. It's like an outsourced contractor. The embassy don't have the time to be doing this by them. They got to have help. So they outsource the job to outside companies to do the processing and to take the payments. And then they just pay the embassy. They take their cut for their company, for their outsourced company. They take their cut for doing the work, and then you schedule the interview. And in this case, it happens to be called the VAC. That's all it is. Okay. When you go into ustraveldocs.gov and you look, like I went into US Travel, I looked for Colombia. I clicked on Colombia. I came across, and then I clicked on the next step. It took me to the embassy website where I then scheduled paid the visa fee, the DS-160, et cetera, et cetera. It's not hard, but sometimes processes change. Immigration is very fluid. It's a very fluid process. Okay. It changes. So this embassy decided to go with this company. So the ambassador had to sign off on it. And the ambassador of the Dominican Republic said, okay, we'll go with VAC. And that's all it is. But there was probably some downtime in between. When they changed from this company to this company, okay, there was probably some downtime where you could not schedule a K-1 visa interview. Okay. Ajali, Diego, it took us 7 months to get an interview. I'm just ready for my fiance to get here. Absolutely. And I forgot to bring some Mountain Dew in here. I would have given you a Mountain Dew salute, but I forgot. It's back in the fridge. I would have given you a Mountain Dew salute, but I forgot. But I got a Mountain Dew hat on, okay? So I'll give you a Mountain Dew hat salute. So he got to the interview, and now you're just waiting for him to get here. So what part of the process are you at? Pixie dust. Yeah, let Chris and Emil, come on. Here we go. Pixie dust for everybody watching this. Maha, Chaudhry, Ajali, Chris and Emil, everybody. Mr. Nahas waiting on his green card. Everybody gets some pixie dust today. I just don't have Mountain Dew. And so now Chris and Emil, you're at the end of the process. Ajali, you got the interview scheduled. When is the visa interview, Ajali? I can't remember. You told me. I think I remember you said, but I can't remember when it is. So you should be getting close to that visa interview. Don't forget the paperwork requirements for the K-1 visa interview. The original I-134, new letters of intent to get married from the sponsor and from the beneficiary, tax returns, tax transcripts. Ajali, okay, the biometrics is on December 17th, and the interview, that's right, it was Christmas Eve. Shame on me for not remembering that. So biometrics is December 17th, okay. Biometrics is easy. They take fingerprints, they take a photograph, and they take your signature, your full name, your first name, middle name, and last name. They want your full name, your photograph, and your fingerprints on the record. So December 24th, he'll get his visa approved. Okay. Now remember, December 25th is a holiday. It's Christmas Day. So don't expect anything to happen on Christmas Day or the day after Christmas. Okay. Because I think in the Dominican Republic, they celebrate a day off after Christmas Day also. So that's 2 days you're going to lose right there. So 24th, the 25th, and the 26th, forget about it. So 27th, 28th, 29th, 30th. So I would say the worst case scenario for you would be he'll get his K-1 visa the first week of January of 2025. That would be the worst case scenario, okay? But he's going to get it. He's going to pass. You've been practicing questions for the K1 visa interview, right? I just hope I have all the paperwork complete. Well, let's go over the paperwork. Do you want to go over the paperwork? I got an itchy nose, guys. The I-134, the original, not a copy. You cannot send a copy. Your last tax return or last two tax returns, the 1040s, your W-2s, your tax transcripts if you can get them. Bank statements showing your income going into the bank. Highlight the direct deposits. You know, when I get paid, it's direct deposit. And I just highlight the direct deposits. I actually flew to Colombia in October of 2023 with all this paperwork in my hand to give to Karina in person. Okay, but if you're not going to be there in person, you got to FedEx it or send it by DHL or UPS. But they got to have that paperwork. Redo the letters of intent to get married. They may not ask for them, but they might. Make sure you got the bank statements, at least 12 months worth. Your pay stubs. Where do we get the tax transcripts? There's a phone number you can call. I don't have my cell phone. Karina, it's not I gave Karina my cell phone, iPhone, whatever it is, 15, whatever. She has the cell phone right now. There's a phone number in there, but I made a video on how to get it too. I made a video on how to get the tax transcripts. So I don't know if you can go into the channel and type in IRS tax, something like that, right? Go into the YouTube channel and type in that, and it should call up the video, and it's like a minute long or so, and it will tell you how to get the tax transcripts. You can either get it online through irs.gov, or you can call this 800 number, and you hit the number. They ask you, what do you want? I want my tax transcripts. What year? 2020, whatever. And then they will mail them to you within about 5 days. Okay? You can get the tax transcripts in about a week. You just call this 800 number, go through the steps that they tell you, and then they mail them to you for free. And I got 2 years worth. I couldn't get my last year. I couldn't get my 2023 tax transcripts because I filed my taxes in January of 2024. And it was not enough time to get them for the green card application anyway. But I had them for the K1 visa application. But if you go into the channel, or Jolly, go into the channel and type in IRS tax transcripts where it says look for a video. I think that's what it's called. You should be able to find it. And then you can find the phone number. It's in the video. You'll find the phone number. I don't have it with me. Karina has the phone. Let me see. Paulino Gomez. Paulino, what's going on, Paulino? Hi, Diego. The 2-year time green card starts at what date? The issue date on the green card. When you get your 2-year probationary green card, it's going to be a CR1, conditional residence. Okay. You look at the issue date on the green card. It's going to be on the front of the form. That's when the 2 years starts. Hey, Johnny, look at that super chat. Thank you, man. That's definitely. I'm running out of Mountain Dew. That's a savior right there. You got me covered now for next week on Mountain Dew. I'll go to Walmart tomorrow and get some. Thank you. More pixie dust for a Jolly. Appreciate that, Mountain Dew. The super chat. Thanks, guys. I'm just trying to save you money from an immigration attorney. Yes, $4,000 for an immigration attorney. I don't know, $3,000, $5,000. It's not a difficult process to do this. It's easy. You just got to know what you're doing. And I know what I'm doing. I got 10 years of experience doing this, okay? Like I said, I'm not an immigration attorney. I don't give any legal advice, but I got 10 years experience doing this. If I can save you guys money, I will. So Paulino Gomez, the 2-year green card starts on the date of the issue date. Karina's green card, 2-year green card issue date, I believe is June 25th, 2024. If I remember. No. It doesn't start from the date of the marriage. Okay. You can come to the United States and get married, and then all of a sudden change your mind. No, I don't want to get married, and then you have to file for a divorce or whatever, or what. It starts on the day of the issue date of the green card. Okay. So you got your 2-year green card. You look at the issue date. 90 days before your green card expires, which is, you got your issue date and you got your termination date, your expiration date. Within the 90 days of when that 2-year green card expires, that is when you lift the conditions off of that green card for your 10-year green card. And then you wait another 10 months or so and apply for U.S. citizenship. Paulino, okay, there you go. I'm going to keep y'all from getting in trouble. The 2-year green card starts on the issue date. Okay. When you got married in America, when you got here, you're on an I-94. Okay. An I-94. So you get your K-1 visa, right? K-1 visa in your passport. You come to America, right? You come to America. You land in the United States. I'm going to answer Ajali's question right here. So you got your K-1 visa if you get it from the embassy. You fly to the United States. As soon as your feet start walking across the airport floor, the shiny marble floor with all the lights and all the commercials, right? That's when your 90 days starts. You check in with the Border Patrol, the Customs and Border Patrol agent. You got your passport. You get into the U.S. citizenship line. Don't go to the green card line because you don't have a freaking green card. You go to the U.S. citizenship line. You turn in your passport and say, I'm here on a K-1 visa, and hopefully your sponsor's with you, right? So you check in. The Border Patrol takes your passport. They check you in, okay? They issue you an I-94. They issue you an I-94 in the computer, plus they might give you a card, a little card with the I-94 number on it and staple it in your passport. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. If they don't panic. Don't worry about it because you did get an I-94. Okay? The date of the I-94, which is the day you landed in America, is when your 90 days starts. You're to get married. Your K-1 visa goes out the window. It's here. It's history. The K-1 visa got you into America. Now it becomes obsolete. Now you're on a 90-day I-94. You got to get married within those 90 days on the I-94. Okay? If you don't get married within 90 days, you're going to be deported. Okay? That's what's going to happen. So you get married within 90 days. You go on the computer and you go to the Border Patrol website and you print 5 or 10 copies of your I-94. You want to get at least 5 copies. An I-94 goes in your purse or in your wallet. An I-94 goes in the green card application for the 2-year green card. An I-94 goes with you to the Social Security Administration so you can apply for a Social Security number. There are 12 states in America where you have to have a Social Security number before you can get married. There's 12 states. Okay, Utah is one of them. Okay, so you got your I-94. You carry it around with you because that is your temporary residency, a permission slip. You then apply for the green card within 60 days, 70 days, put together a fantastic green card application. Try to get it done within 90 days. If you can't, don't worry, it's okay. Some people, they want to save up a little bit more because it's not freaking cheap. You apply for your green card, your I-94 expires while you're waiting for your green card. Don't worry, you're in status. You're in status, okay? You're good. So you got to America on the K-1. The K-1 becomes obsolete. You get an I-94, 90-day window of time. You get married within 90 days. You then file for the green card after about 60, 70 days. The I-94 expires. Don't worry about it. You're in status. And then all you do is wait for the biometrics letter and the green card. That's how it works. So the question to me was, the first question to me was, when does the 90 days start to get married commence? The day you arrive in America, when your feet start walking across the airport in Miami or Los Angeles or New York or wherever, Seattle, wherever you land, that's when it starts. You got 90 days. Okay? So the K1 visa becomes basically obsolete. But you got to make a copy of it for your green card application. When you mail off for your green card, you got to include the I-94. You got to include the copy of the K1 visa, the biographic page of your passport, the biographic page of your sponsor's passport, pictures of your wedding, pictures of your honeymoon, um, a receipt from the wedding reception that you had, anything and everything that you can put in that green card application. You want to put your new husband or wife's name on the electric bill, the water bill, the trash bill, the homeowners association, get the names on the deed to the house or to the apartment or to the townhouse. You got to show proof of cohabitation. Get them on the joint bank account holders. You got to show proof of joint bank account holder. You got to show commingling of dollars. Okay. You put together a fantastic green card application. If it's a good one, if you got strong evidence, you won't have to go to another interview, another scary visa interview. You won't have to. Immigration don't have the time. If they can see from your green card application, you guys are really happily married, you got a strong relationship, you live together, you commingling funds, you're both accepting responsibility for the bills. That's what they're looking for. Ajali, if I'm with my fiance when we arrive, do we go to the border patrol line? Here's what happens, Ajali. You arrive in America with your beneficiary, and you go to the U.S. citizenship line and get in line at the U.S. citizenship line. And then you will weave your way through the U.S. citizenship line until you get to the border patrol officer. Woo, the scary border patrol officer. He or she will then take your passport, okay? And then you're going to say to the immigration officer, this is my fiance, and he or she is in a K1 visa approval. He or she is going to need a border patrol face-to-face interview. The border patrol officer will then get on his phone or her phone, call somebody, they will come to you, they will escort you to a room or an office or wherever, and give you a brief interview, take your package that you haven't opened. You're not going to open that package. It's going to be sealed tight, okay? The border patrol person will open it, take out the documents, process you into the United States as a legal resident, give you an I-94, and welcome you to America. Okay? Do you get it? Ajali. April Flower. Hi, Diego. My fiance arrived in the United States. What should we do now? Congratulations, April Flower. I don't have any Mountain Dew to give you a Mountain Dew salute. But I got a super chat from Ajali, so tomorrow I'm going to fix that. But the thing is this, okay, what do you do now? Get married. Or you may need to get a social security number first. It depends on where you live, okay? So I don't know what state do you live in? Diego, I plan on moving, let me see here. April Flower. What, are you in California? I can't remember where you are. Tell me the state that you live in, and I'll give you some real good, superior, top-notch, top-shelf advice on what you got to do next. Chris and Emil, yes, it's 90 days. First day in America. There you go. Paulino, do we have to make fancy cover letters for the adjustment of status? You need to make a cover letter for the adjustment of status. Yes. It doesn't have to be fancy. Okay, you don't have to make it fancy with little butterflies or whatever. Just a cover letter. So immigration, when they open up your green card application, they can see an itemized list of what's in your application. Number one is going to be what? Check for $1,440. Number two is going to be what? Form G1145, so that you can get an acceptance text message with a receipt number. Number three, what's it going to say? Do you see what I'm saying? Number three is going to be Form I-485. Number four, Form 484. Number six, or whatever, Form 693, medical vaccinations. Number seven, photos of the wedding, photos of whatever. You make an itemized list for immigration to make their job so much easier to adjudicate your green card application. It doesn't have to be fancy. You don't have to put pictures of Peter Pan or Disney elephants on it. Just a cover letter with an itemized list. It's like a list for Walmart. You're making a shopping list for Walmart. What do I need at Walmart? 1, Mountain Dew. 2, Mountain Dew. 3, Mountain Dew. Right? You got it? It's easy. So April Flower, you live in Missouri. Okay, let me look on the list for Missouri. And you don't need a social security number to get married in Missouri. Okay, so what I would do, April Flower, is go down to the Social Security Administration with the I-94. Make sure your I-94, you got the I-94 and the passport, the K-1 visa. Go to the Social Security office and apply for his Social Security number. The Social Security number is going to come in, and it's going to have this verbiage on the front of it that says, you cannot work without permission from Homeland Security, or something like that. Don't worry about it. You get the Social Security number, and he's got his Social Security card in his hand. You then go to the bank, and you get joint account holders together. You become joint bank account holders. You wait a month or 2 months. The bank statements will come in with your name on it and his name on it. You got to show joint commingling of dollars. Okay? Oh, you got it? So then you get married. You get the marriage license. You get the marriage certificate. Get 4 certified copies of the marriage certificate. Get 4 certified copies of the marriage certificate. 1 for the green card application, 1 for your own personal home, 1 for the 10-year green card, and 1 for when you apply for citizenship. You got it covered, right? If you get them up front. And then you just start putting together your green card application over the next 60, 70 days. After the next 60 or 70 days, you've put together a absolutely fantastic green card package. Then you send it off to the correct place. Now, if you live in Missouri, okay, I'm going to tell you where you need to mail your green card application, or do you already know? I'll tell you. Let me see. I want to tell you where it is, because I got my finger on the pulse of USCIS, okay? I'll tell you. You live in Missouri, right? Okay. Hold on there. You're going to mail your green card application to Elgin, Illinois. I'm going to put the address right here for you. Now, this is by FedEx, UPS, or DHL. If you're going to be, you got to use those. Don't use the U.S. Postal Service. Don't do that. Use a private company to ship your green card application. This is the address for Missouri. If you live in Missouri, this is where you're going to send it. Okay? So if you have a pen, a camera's over. I keep thinking the camera's over there. It's right here. If you have a pen handy, you can write this down, and I will save you the headache of trying to find out where to ship it. Okay? Now remember, this is going to be via UPS or FedEx. Okay? Let me see here. I'll write it so I don't make a mistake. I don't have my glasses on, but that's all right. Karina usually helps me, but she's busy. Let me write that in here for you guys. I'm not ignoring you, okay? I'm not ignoring you. I'm just writing this out. This is where you send 60124-7836. If you live in Missouri, that's where you're going to mail your green card application to. You got it? You don't need a Social Security number to get married, so go apply for it, but you got to get the I-94 first. Get your I-94, go apply for the Social Security number, run down to the bank, once he gets his Social Security card, go open up a bank account as joint bank account holders, then get your marriage license, your marriage certificate, get your wedding started, try to get married within 2 weeks or so, and then wait 60, 70 days and send in your green card application. And why do I say wait 60 or 70 days? it's going to take you that long to get all the paperwork together that shows that you guys are living together, commingling funds, and are sharing responsibilities. April Flower, once he gets his social security number, can he start working? No, 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 no. I'm going to write it right here. You can only work in the USA. I'm going to write it out here. With a work permit slash, right here, with a work permit slash green card slash social security number. Those are the rules in order to start work in America. Got to have your work permit, your green card, or your social security number, and your social security number. If you start work in the United States and you go and apply for a job with a social security number, look, I got my social security number. What's it going to say on the front of that card of the social security number? What's it going to say on the front of the social security card? You cannot work without the permission of Homeland Security. What is the permission of Homeland Security? The permission of Homeland Security is you have a work permit or a green card. So April Flower, you go and you apply for the green card, you wait for the green card, or the work permit if you want. When the work permit comes in, if you want to spend the extra $260 for the work permit, plus the $1,400 for the green card and the biometrics, the work permit comes in, then he can start work. If you cannot work, if he doesn't have to work right away, save the $260. Save the $260. Okay. If I can, I'll write it for you so you can see. Save the $260. And just wait for the green card to come in. When the green card comes in, you go with the green card to the Social Security office and say, I want to change my status. You know, the Social Security office is going to say, okay, here's my green card, here's my passport. So he has his Social Security card, which says, you cannot work without permission of Homeland Security, or something like that. When his green card comes in, you go back to the Social Security Administration and change the status to legal permanent residence. So the Social Security officer will go into the computer, look at the green card, type in the alien number, and your status will change from I-94 to legal permanent resident. Then you will get a brand new Social Security card in the mail where all that verbiage that says work only with permission of Homeland Security, all that verbiage will be gone. It will go away. He will have a brand new Social Security card with his number. The number doesn't change. He'll have his green card. He'll have his Social Security number with a brand new card. Boom. Then you can put him to work. Then you can get him to work. And Karina, she's got to get up at like 3 o'clock tomorrow in the morning. She has to work tomorrow. She gets up at 3 o'clock in the morning for her job. She has her green card and her Social Security card, which doesn't have any of that verbiage on there. Tom Shu, hi Diego and Karina. Good evening. What's going on, Tom? This is Tom from Pennsylvania. May I ask if we need to file the tax jointly before the beneficiary gets the green card? If you got married in 2024, okay, if you got married this year, you can file a joint tax return in January of 2025. If you got the green card in your hand or not, okay, because you guys are married and you want to show proof of commingling funds. So if everybody watching this right now, if you got married in 2024 to your beneficiary, in January or February, March or April of 2025, you can file a joint tax return. If you get married in 2025, you cannot file a joint tax return until 2026. Do you understand what I'm saying? Karina and I got married in January of 2024. I filed my taxes in January of 2024. I couldn't file a joint tax return because we were not married in 2023. If Karina and I had got married in 2023, we could have filed a joint tax return in January of 2024, but we didn't. We got married in January, so I had to file my taxes as single filer. But in January of 2025, okay, I'm going to file a joint tax return with Karina, because there's no doubt our income probably went up because she's working. So, Tom in Pennsylvania, if your beneficiary doesn't have her green card yet, and you got married in 2024, if she still doesn't have her green card by January of 2025 or February or March, you can still file a joint tax return, okay? Because you're married, you're in status, and you're just waiting for the green card. That's all. You didn't get an RFE. You didn't get any problems. There was no issues. You're just doing this. Just waiting for your green card. So you're good. Now, I'm not a CPA, okay? I'm not giving you any legal advice, but I know that's a fact. How do I know that? Because I spoke to the IRS and asked them. I called the IRS and said, hey, what's the process? I got married in January. Can I claim Karina on my 2023 tax return? No, you can't. But you can in 2025. I said, okay. Well, thank you very much. You know how the government, they want to try to take as much money out of your wallet as they can, because apparently they know how to spend it better than you do. Okay? But anyway, it is what it is. So Corinne and I got married in January of 2024. We will file a joint tax return together in January of 2025, or maybe February, but probably January. I just want to get it over with, just want to get it out of my hair, or what I got left of it. So did that answer your question, Tom? Did I help you? I see in that case, should we change the status on the W-4 form to married filed jointly? Yes, that's exactly right. You got it. Your status is married filing jointly on the W-4. You're absolutely correct. When Karina started working in America with just her work permit. She didn't have a green card yet. And they gave her a W-4 to fill out. And it was, what is your status? And she put married filing jointly. She didn't have her green card. It came like 3 weeks later, but she didn't have it when she filled out her W-4. So she put on there married filing jointly. And in January of 2025, I'm just going to get the freaking tax thing out of the way, and we will file a joint tax return. Unfortunately, we couldn't do it this year because we got married this year. Ajali, please don't forget my last question. Ajali, I have global entry. Okay, Ajali. Diego, I plan on moving very soon. Should I wait to change my address to when I file for the green card? Okay, Ajali. Don't move, okay, until you have the green card in your hand. Or if you move before you file the green card application, you put your new address on the paperwork. So that way the green card comes to your new house. You don't want your green card to get lost somewhere in the abyss of the U.S. Postal Service, because your green card will be created by the company General Dynamics in Corbin, Kentucky. They're going to send it to you certified mail in the U.S. Postal System. It's going to be tracked from A to Z, from Corbin, Kentucky to your house. They're going to track it very carefully. It's a very, very important document. Okay? So, Ajali, if you're buying a new house, congratulations. Pixie dust for Ajali. You're buying a new house. Here's the thing. I would move into the new house and then file the green card application. That's what I would do, so that the green card comes to your new house. I wouldn't file the green card application with your current address, then move to the new house, and you pray to the USCIS that it doesn't get lost in the freaking mail. Right? So don't file the green card application until you move into your new house. Get into your beautiful new home. Congratulations, by the way, congratulations. And then file the green card application and use the address of your new house. And then you won't be having a sleepless night worrying that your green card application went off somewhere else. You got it? Ajali, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to miss your question there. Hopefully that answered it for you. Tom Shu, thank you so much, Diego. Also, the signature page 17 of the 485 form, does the beneficiary need to sign with their married name or their maiden name? On page 17, let me look. I got a feeling it's going to be the married name because you guys are married now. But let's take a look and see. This is the sponsor's change of address. This is this one. This is this one. Where's Karina when I need her? She's my helper. Right here. Page 17, right? Jolly, what? Another soup. Jolly, come on now. Thank you for that beautiful super. That's a super sticker, right? That's a super sticker right there, Jolly. Thank you so much for that. I mean, you got me covered for the week now for Mountain Dews. I'm serious. Tom, page 17. Let's see here. I want to look it up for you. This is the 485. Now, we got to go all the way to the back. And I don't have my glasses on. And Karina's not here. Page 17. Page 17 of the, that's page 18. Karina, where are you? Because she looked through this quickly and she'll find it. Page 17. Applicant signature. Applicant signature is going to be the married name. When Karina signed page 17 of Form 485, she signed it Karina, middle name Ross. Okay? Tom, it's going to be her married name. Okay? Sorry it took me so long. I had to find the form. It's her married name. Now remember, when she signs her signature for the 485, I-485, she's got to sign her first name, her middle name, and your last name, her married name. And immigration has to be able to read the signature. Okay? So don't be like a doctor. Don't sign it like a doctor, where it's just like a line. Years ago, I made that mistake. I'm not a doctor, but I just scribbled my signature, and immigration said, no, we can't accept the document. I said, well, why not? That's my freaking signature. They said, we can't read it. So I said, okay, Mr. Immigration Officer. So I signed my name, my middle name, and my last name, like I was in 10th grade in high school, practicing cursive, so the immigration officer could read it. Okay? You got it? Tom Shu, that's very helpful. Thank you, Diego. I'm here for you guys. Jolly. I'm going to give you more pixie dust, okay? Thank you so much for those super sticker and a super chat. So, Tom, we got you covered, right? You got covered on the questions. And your wife is going to sign her married name, but she's going to sign her full name, first name, middle name, last name, your last name, so immigration can read it. Okay? Don't be doing doctor stuff. And Tom Shu said, that's very helpful. Thank you, Diego. You're welcome. Now, today is what? Sunday, right? Today's Sunday. You having a good weekend so far? Are you doing well? You've learned some new things on the channel. You've learned how to do some new stuff today, which is the whole point of the channel. This YouTube channel was created by myself, but it was Karina's idea, my beautiful wife from Venezuela. We were in Villa de Leyva in Colombia, which is a very historical part of Colombia. And Karina said, you need to put a YouTube channel together for immigration and help people. Because remember, I was in Colombia on a 1-year visa. I said, I wasn't allowed to work. I didn't have a Colombian work permit. I just had a freaking visa to live there. No work allowed. So I put the channel together with Karina. It was her idea. And here we are, still going strong with the channel, helping you guys. And we're going to keep doing that. Okay? Now, today's Sunday. Tomorrow is another scheduled live stream. So I will, unless you got any more questions. Okay, MB. Hello, Diego. Sundays have been added to the live stream. I just did a surprise live stream. Karina was busy in the back, okay? And I had run out of things to do. And I figured I had some carryover questions from yesterday. So I decided to do a surprise live stream to continue to help you with this visa process. The weekends, hopefully people are usually pretty free. And although tomorrow you probably have to get up early for work. but I decided to do a quick live stream, and it's been an hour and 10 minutes, something like that. And we did a lot of good stuff today. We learned a lot of new things, right? You guys got educated. I was thinking about running the live stream off of this camera. I was going to do the live stream off of this M50, but I got to figure out how to get it all connected. I don't know if it's going to be any better than what I'm using right here, but who knows, right? Okay, do you have any more questions for me, guys? If not, I will definitely be back tomorrow at 6 p.m. Central Time, US, to continue this wonderful discussion. And Tom got some new information. Ajali got some new information. Thank you, Ajali, for the super stickers and the super chats. If you got no questions for me, I will be back tomorrow for you guys. All right? I got to figure out how to shut this off. I got the camera blocking everything. Where's Karina? Any more questions before I go? We're good. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Wait a second. Not yet. I almost canceled the live stream. Tom Shu, one last question. Diego, on the I-485, the married name only needs to appear on the first page and the signature page. No need to be on the additional info. No, on the additional info page. Look, Tom, let me explain to you. Let me fix the camera. On page 1 of the 485, okay, this is where you change, on page 1, this is where you change the name, okay? Right here, it was family name is Ross. Given name for Karina is Karina. Middle name is her middle name. And then right here, it would be family name, which is her maiden name, before she got married to me. And then it says given name, which is Karina, and then her middle name right here. So Karina Ross. So basically what happened was Karina went from her maiden name to her married name right here on page 1 of 485. Then on page 17, she signed her name, Karina middle name Ross, as the applicant. And that's it. The marriage certificate is going to be in her maiden name. Okay? Don't be trying to change. Don't be panicking. Lots of people are having a heart attack because the marriage certificate is in the maiden name. Don't worry about it. That's the way it is. But she changes her name on page 1 of Form 485. All right, Tom, you good? I can keep talking. Okay, got it. Muchas gracias, Diego. All right, Tom, we'll see you guys tomorrow and continue the discussion.